Welcome to Losing a Child, Always Andy's Mom. On this podcast, we journey through the devastating experience of the death of a child. Grief is seldom discussed openly in our culture, and the death of a child makes people feel even more uncomfortable. We approach the topic openly and honestly, speaking to people who have lost loved ones and experts who help care for them. Whether you are a parent experiencing loss or someone who wants to support another going through this tragedy, this podcast strives to offer hope and help.
Welcome to episode number 349 of Losing a Child, Always Andy's Mom. I'm Marcy Larson, Andy's mom. Today's episode is a repeat of this week's live stream. So if you didn't have a chance to listen, here is your chance to listen to this great conversation we had about how the seasons can really affect us so much in our grief and how that may be unexpected. Before we begin today's episode, however, I want to take a moment to honor two very special people, both of whom share today, May 21st, as their birthday. Today's episode has two sponsors. It may be a bit unusual, but it felt right to have two sponsors when they share the same birthday. So this episode is sponsored by Lorraine in loving memory of her daughter, Miss Janelle May. Janelle was a dancer for nearly 40 years, a bowler, an artist, a creator of personalized hair accessories, and a woman who had a ringtone for everyone she loved. She was the kind of person who always had the perfect words, the perfectly timed joke, and the most personal gift in the room. She was, as her family said, magical. Janelle was 44 years old when she passed away on May 29th, 2025. Lorraine, thank you for honoring your Queen Janelle on her birthday in this way. This episode is for Janelle. Happy birthday, sweet girl. This episode is also sponsored in memory of Pike Peterson, whose mom wanted me to share this story with you today. So many of you remember Pike's mom from episode 325. Pike fought and defeated leukemia, only to be lost to a routine biopsy. His legacy lives on through an effort to make others aware of the ease and the miracle of stem cell donation, which has the power to cure leukemia and 70 other diseases. If you would like to request a swab packet to be sent to your home, you can visit dkms.org/get-involved/virtual-drives/get-typed-for-Pike. Please consider it, especially on his birthday today. It really could save a life. Happy birthday, Pike. This one's for you, too. If you would like to sponsor an episode, you can donate $125 through the website, andysmom.com, also through GiveButter. Also, if you listen to the end, there are some other ways that you can donate as well. Just make sure to send me a message so I know and can read that during the introduction, just like I was able to for Janelle and Pike today. Right now, though, we should get to it and listen to our conversation that Gwen and I had regarding the seasons and grief. I have to tell all of you, I had absolutely no idea that my recording was terrible when we recorded this. I wondered why our numbers kept kind of going up and down, and I think it's because people left because they really could not hear me. So I tried to edit it using my editing software. That did not really work because it actually made things worse. So I tried to do a quick edit today on the day of release. So this is why it's being released so much later than normal. But I do need to apologize that the sound is bad. It is a rich discussion, and I think I've gotten it okay so you can kind of figure out what we're talking about. But I was in a rush. And clearly I did not have things hooked up properly, and I thought I did. So I apologize for that. Please forgive me and still listen. I will make sure that the next live stream that we do is much, much better than this. And I also think we're going to switch our nights from Monday nights to Sunday nights to try to get a little more participation. But honestly, I'm glad there wasn't very much participation this time because really the sound was bad. It is better now. I took out a lot of the chunks where you really just couldn't hear me at all. So I'm sorry, forgive me, and try to enjoy listening to Gwen and I and our discussion. Welcome, Gwen.
Thank you.
So So here we are today talking really about the season.
Well, I mean, the major reason is because it's such a tangible marker that time has passed, right? Like, a lot of people have mentioned flipping the calendar to the new year is really hard. Well, the seasons are like doing that 4 times when we go from winter to spring, spring to, spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter. It's the marker that more time has passed. And I think no matter what memory those seasons hold, which is another reason why they're so hard, it's just that more time has passed without our child. And there's no denying it when time doesn't stand still for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, some people wrote in about just different memories of each season. And I think, I've given tips, I've spoken on it, we'll give some today, but that honoring your child in every season and those memories and being able to talk about that is like number one in my book. And so it was really fun to read what people said.
Yeah. This topic really kind of made me really think, because of course, as I talk about in the podcast a lot, I do facilitate the support group for Starlight last week, right? It's our last week before we break for summer, and obviously spring has come, and it's kind of morphed into almost, and it just felt like, this ends up being a really hard time. Like,
it is.
You go through changes, and I thought, I don't think we've really talked very specifically, at least, about what the change in seasons can do.
Right. And you just mentioned a key one. When a support group ends, and as someone who led the ministry, has led support groups my whole entire life, any group that takes a break for the season or for something is always hard on at least a majority of the members, because it's their lifeline and saying goodbye and they don't want to. On the flip side, especially in our state, Marcy, Michigan is what we live, or summer's what we live for, right? Like, it's our, and regardless of whether people, what's the word? I mean, I know they understand it, but whether they realize it or not, attendance in Michigan is way down in the summer. So having a group, people just don't want to make the commitment, finding the volunteers that you could have for 6 weeks that won't have a vacation, or, it's a nice night and your neighbors invite you over for a barbecue and you're like, oh, I got my group tonight. You'd rather go to the barbecue because summer doesn't last real long. And so that's why those things take a break. Grief doesn't. I know that.
No.
But the other thing that, have you ever had this, because you've been through a few cycles of the group where you're on the group, or you're in the group and then you take a break and you think, oh, how am I going to do without it? But have you ever realized that you really are okay, and like it was okay to have the break?
That's a really good, because since I've been on with my groups now, most of the time they sort of choose to totally take a break. Okay, so we are done. The Starlight curriculum is done. I am done leading, but I usually have somebody that kind of picks up takes the responsibility of, hey, we're going to just get together via Zoom, just so it doesn't feel so long. So it is frequent, and we don't do it. So it's not the. So in that, I would say yes, and sometimes, of course, when it's every other week like that, you can't make it, right? Something's going on. You can't make everyone, and then suddenly it's a month, right? You miss one, and now it's a month. And I think you're right. I think you do better than you think you. But I also feel I very few of the
I've been working with, I felt okay to say, okay, let's just go 3 months and we're fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a different bonding that maybe happens. I've sensed your group has bonded in a different way. And I think the moms, especially who these are my people, it is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do like the fact there are a lot of people who meet casually, or I know even in a widows group, when we break, the widows get together, maybe go out to dinner, or because for them, Saturday nights, weekends are hard. So they plan something that they're together. And so those are good things.
The difference between a virtual group and an in-person group, because I think I actually sort of think that's a great opportunity that Starlight in-person groups takes the whole summer off, because if you want to get together with these people, it's on you now to kind of socialize.
Right.
Person group, and we had a game several of the families, and we went over to someone's house and we played games, and it was great and we loved it. But in a virtual group, it's just different because I can't, go, obviously, as much as I would love to fly to the UK and see one of my, have a cup of tea with her.
Right.
But it's a different feel.
And it is scary and vulnerable at first. I know anything that changes is hard. But what I also just heard you saying is there's pros and cons to each season. And that's one of the things with transitions is, transition is when you're going from one state to another, like you're moving from something. And so even, as moms, were we in school versus summer, you were transitioning from full on schedule, have to be up every morning for the bus or for the carpool, to don't have to be up, or it just looks different, or, all those things have their pros and cons. Cause I remember loving when the schedule was done, like the pressure of the schedule was gone. But I also remember loving when it came back in the fall.
Yeah. And then when you think about those summer vacations that you used to take with your kids, and it just doesn't look the same anymore. And all of that kind of stuff, or back to school, or all of these things, all of these like transitions that happen with when there's somebody so important not there anymore.
Yeah. They're all reminders, every single one of them. Yep.
Yeah. I've got to share that Andy's choir director, he retired. And Sunday, I go to those concerts. I sit in the back on the wayside every time I sit in the back and the side, because I cry through the whole thing and I don't want to be a spectacle. And the other reason, I sit back so far that I cannot see, because then I close my eyes and I hear and I feel him. And so to have Scott be directing that for the last time just was hard. Think about they're still going to have the choir, they're going to have a different director, they're going to have different things, but, it was just difficult. And at the end, they had all the former choristers that had sung in the choir stand up. So there's Peter standing by, and all I could think, he shouldn't be standing by himself. I feel like that was kind of part of the end of a season.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. And each one is it's a constant reminder of what, like you said, what should have been, what didn't need to have happened. For you to have both of your sons standing is what you would have wanted. And that reminder that day, those things just catch us off guard sometimes. You probably knew going in it was going to be emotional.
Oh, every single one is emotional. They're all hard. I cry every single time. Now, but so it was worse than, but yet they're all bad. And then I think to myself, well, why do I do this to myself every single concert? Because there are 4 concerts. They're very seasonal. And I do this to myself. I feel closest to him. So even though I cry and I feel him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what reminders do. They remind us of all the beautiful things, and you wouldn't want to miss it because you feel close to him. but then the reminders also break our heart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
That's exactly right. But I
Yeah.
did feel it really did fit with what's happening, what this conversation.
Oh, yes. Even when it happens, like I'm thinking of aging because I have my mother-in-law who are aging, that we know that that's what happens, right? If you live long enough, some of these things are going to change, but it's not easy. Like it's hard to have those goodbyes or the reminders that I can't do that anymore. And, many
Yeah.
people who have taken care of someone have watched that. Like, so the seasons of the life cycle too. And I think retirement reminds us that, like, this person who you've held so dear and was part of your choir family, he's probably retiring because he's at that age. I don't know. Maybe there's another reason, but those are hard too, that reminders that we're getting older. And however, whether, I was thinking of my mother every day that she's aging and losing functionality. She's also tells me she's one day closer to being with her savior and seeing her husband again. Right. Like, so, yeah. But what I meant, like every stage, everything has, like every ending hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I thought you were going to move to the questions, maybe.
I am going to move to the questions.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's great.
So I'd love to kind of go through some of those things.
So Michelle Ferris said Corbin loves summer, and so did I. So I'm wondering if she no longer likes summer. We had our tradition of going to Yogi Bear camping every summer with a couple other families. We started it when he was 2 and continued for 17 years. We also enjoyed going up north to my brother's cottage and tubing and kayaking down the river. We loved going to the movies any time of year. And of course, summer movies was always fun. I miss all of it so much. And now summer is when I lost him on a fun family holiday, no less. Yeah. So all those things for her that she used to love and have. Yeah.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, the season they don't like is the season in which their child died, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was going to have you read the question. Could you read the question too?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. The question was, what is your child's favorite season and what was yours? I think we did make it a past tense because maybe it's no longer. Yeah. So she said and so did I. Yeah. Because I'm sure summer now is just a lot of reminders and vacations aren't the same. And we both know her to know, that he was her only child. And so it's, huge changes. Then Mary Pat, Robinson Mitchell said Ben loved fall because football games started and grueling summer practices were over, and spring because it meant baseball. This was the first spring, 5 years out, that the weather change didn't take me down. I think for those who are down in the change of season can see that it's normal, right?
Right,
that
exactly.
It does take you down. But the first time that it didn't, I love that for her.
There are a couple people that here wrote on winter. So and Matthew's favorite where he could do his favorite for playing hockey and skiing every season. He was diagnosed in the summer of 2019 and passed away 10 months later. So every season has hard, bittersweet memories of all his, as he truly embraced. But as I get older, Alaska, I enjoy the sun and warmth while embracing the beauty of Matthew's favorite season. That is a really, really good point. I thought about she's really got memories of the last summer, the last fall, the last winter. So that makes that's a whole different level. Trying to appreciate the last fall, trying to appreciate knowing that he's sick.
Yeah.
So I think it adds a little bit of a different dimension when your child is ill through.
Yes, you're seeing through a completely different lens. I mean, those of us who just don't know that tomorrow's our last, we don't live with the same lens as they have, cherishing those moments and saying, this isn't going to last forever. And just every sunset, everything you do, you just soak that in. And it's kind of like parents who, maybe have multiple kids and you've made a decision that this is your last one. You do look at it in a different lens because it doesn't last forever and you're not going to have these experiences anymore.
Yeah, right. For sure. I mean, I think about Peter, I knew was going to be my last. You did.
I tried very hard to cherish every moment. And that's one of the things that death has taken me or given to me, is that I do cherish it, because we don't know if this is our last. So just stopping to treasure things. And I don't know if I've ever told you this story before, but my junior year of high school, my parents took my best friend and I, we had gone to Florida. My uncle lived in West Palm Beach, and we had driver's license, and our parents trusted us to just go spend the day at the beach. We went t-shirt shopping. We were coming back to their home. There's the ocean, the sun setting, and I'm driving my aunt and uncle's car, and I'm kind of nervous. I'm in this big city, and my friend says, pull the car over. I'm like, what? And so I pull the car over. She said, get out. And we just looked at the ocean and looked at, and she said, we're never going to be 16 again with our hair blowing in the wind, standing by the ocean. Let's just breathe it in. Don't talk, Gwen. Don't talk. Just breathe it in. And I think so many times in life, she always has that quality, but I wish I had it more, just to stop and breathe in a moment.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
Right. Yeah. We've never been 16 again, standing at the side of the ocean without a care in the world.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. But I do think that people who live with that awareness, whether they know something's coming, they can treasure things that when life just changes in an instant.
Yeah.
It's totally different. I have to go up to Dennis. Blue says Mandy loved fall because she could throw on a sweatshirt and be cozy. Also loved rainy days during fall where she could grab a book and curl up on the couch with her dog. So it's like, yeah.
I love that too.
I do too. Because I can just picture it, like those cozy days of,
So Holly wrote, Brittany loved summer so she could swim, and fall because it was the start of TikTok season for FFA. And as she started college, Aggie football started up. She loved those games. Summer was always one of my favorites. The season, she was the best. Fall has long been my, but it stings now because she died. I was the only one that struggled much with the season changing. Glad I'm not alone, but so many of you experience it also. Again, just showing a good discussion this up to people, because I don't think it's commonly thought of as an issue, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Non-grieving people, I don't think they understand how it's hard.
Well, here's the other thing. The trivial chatter that we do with people when we're just run into someone in the grocery store, or we're just passing in the school halls and you see another mom, it's always about the weather, right? When there's not a deep conversation, even for it's just trivial chatter when you're not bereaved. But when you're bereaved, it carries so much more in it, like, because we're feeling like, mentioned here, I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels so sad. So when someone says, oh, beautiful day out, we're probably not going to go, it actually makes me very sad because this was the season in which, I don't know that we're going to do that.
No, of course not.
Except in this setting, right?
You think it. You don't. None of us say it. Yeah. Michael loved winter snowboard and summer water ski. So I guess he just liked being on some sort of a ski type of thing. So that's
right. Yeah. Carolyn said Michael loved winter and it snowed on the day of his wake and it made me more sad. I love spring. Now I feel sad with the change and I'm glad you're addressing this. I thought it was just me. Yeah.
Yeah, again. So Lenny and I love pool and tanning and the cruise here in Toronto. She loved gardening and soaking in the suns with her face. How I met, and that's another too, is just the memories of all of those amazing, wonderful times that you had, and you just gets to be so big, right?
Mhm. Yes. Oh, well, memories are the things that just keep grief open too. Like, we can maybe go along and feel like, okay, but the memories come in and it just keeps that heart open to the beauty and the pain, that recall. And I just want to tell people though, and we talked about it just in the series that I did in February on your podcast, is that those aren't bad things when that happens. Like facing the pain, it hurts, but it's therapeutic to do. So we don't want people to go, oh, if the seasons make me sad, then I'm just not gonna think about that or allow those memories to come in. It's good, they need to. Yeah. Oh, did you see Melissa's Chelsea's was fall? She loved Halloween and the color changing of the leaves. She loved wearing hoodies and flannels. Everyone wore a flannel to her visitation. She passed away in the fall.
That's cool that they.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking of the other one about curling up with a book in rainy days, is that now knowing that when other people experience that, they remember. And I'm sure all the people who wore a flannel, then when they wear that flannel again, they think of her and how much she liked that. Yeah.
Yep. And then we have Jane's favorite was summer. He loved camping, fishing, and mostly being home.
Yeah.
And then Pam wrote, Brett loved all seasons, winter for a fire and camping, summer for boat riding. He loved the outdoors. So
very, very good. I think, did we read them all? Yes, I think we did.
We did.
One of the tips that these are not the tip. I had some that I was going to share, but I was reading something that said I was more along the lines of seasonal depression too, because some people have that on top of their grief, where they have seasonal, difficulties in the winter. And, some people use the sunlight, or, what do they call that? That
light boxes.
Yes. Is that they say that spring cleaning helps with that. And I thought, does it really? Like, does spring cleaning really help? Is that a tip to help with, the seasons changing and coming into spring? I just thought it was interesting. It's not, like I said, it's not one of my tips, but I read that and I just thought, I don't know. Maybe people are right. No, spring cleaning never helps with anything.
I don't know. Maybe so, maybe not. And now, which season feels the hardest in life? So, and I like the point that we put with this one. For so many of us, the answer to that second question, surprise. It is not always. So, I wanted to see and if it was kind of different. So Marcy wrote, fall is my toughest season because my birthday. I used to make for him. So that was because of birthday. So I think sometimes it's because of when the person died, sometimes birthday, sometimes their favorite season was. So.
Well, and the other thing sometimes is because she said here, what I used to make for him, that when that time comes around, do you still make them? Is there any, it was something that she did for him. And then it becomes that loss of a role too. Do I still get to make those treats or not? They don't have so it's a change of our role too in what we do.
Yeah. I'm going to read through Alicia's here. So.
Okay.
Spring brings so much melancholy for me. On one hand, refreshed and excited to see the sun, have longer days, see buds on the trees, and smell the sweet spring air. On the other hand, it makes my heart ache and brings tears to my eyes. It makes me feel raw. I miss my son extra on the most beautiful spring day. I am heartbroken he is not here to feel the sun on his face in this new season. It caught me off guard the first season. Each year, I forget that the melancholy is coming, and it surprises me a little. Then I remember this is part of my life cycle now.
Yes.
This may be my favorite, actually, because
Mhm.
this goes to that part on sometimes it surprises us what it is. She was 100% surprised. There is no of birthday time, a death anniversary time, anything like that. It is just that it is a time of new life and, you know,
Mhm.
and more what traditionally had been kind of happier times for her, and
Mhm.
melancholy comes. Right?
Yes. And you know, back in the it was I think it was even in the 1800s. They used to, when people were bereaved, they'd say they were in a state of morb and they'd allow them to be in that state. And it meant temporary melancholy, that you were going to go up and down. And they understood that about bereaved people. And as I mentioned, our society doesn't have as many words for bereaved people. There's some cultures that have lots of them. And if we had more words, it would give people insight onto how we're feeling. And so that melancholy that she uses, that it's just, she uses the word raw, heartbroken, caught off guard, um all those things. The world doesn't understand that, but so clearly all the bereaved people truly get that. But the part I love is the my life cycle now, and that's the other thing that the change of scenery reminds us, that there is a cycle of life.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
her cycle, she knows that this is just part of her cycle.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Well, do you want to read one here? Do you have them
Sure.
up now?
Yep, I do. I found them. Kim
Okay.
says March is when it starts. March 8th used to be my heart dog's birthday until it became the day that propelled me into a nightmare I couldn't get away from. My son's birthday is also in March. He passed in April, and then Mother's Day. It's all so hard, and I feel it coming before I look at the calendar. I found myself remembering things I was noticing in January and February that made me think at the time, that's odd. And then I had an uneasy feeling with each of them. I remembered shaking my head and chiding myself for thinking that way. After my son passed, I was looking at pictures and came across some that I took that had me feeling like I was being prepared for something. I'll never know if what I felt was real, but it felt like it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, those uneasy feelings, what, when our gut gives us those, it's like, what are these? What does this mean? Um,
Yeah.
and we've talked about that before. But I know when she said I didn't even have to look at the calendar. It's like our body
Yes.
keeps score. We know,
Yep.
it's just coming, and you don't even have to look. You just know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember this goes back many years ago. I remember my daughter was having a really bad day and she didn't know why she was having a bad day. And she was talking to me about it and she said, and then I looked at the calendar and I realized it was the 15th
Mhm,
because 15th, and that was when we were still just kind of funny how you don't
mhm,
and for me, talking about these seasons that are hard. So Andy died on obviously the 15th of August. But it doesn't mean that all of summer is terrible for me. It's so funny because it really is that the transition to back to school for me
mhm,
because he was in his orientation and the soccer, he just been, named starter to the soccer team in the first soccer game.
mhm,
But it wasn't really fall either. So I talk about the change in seasons being a big thing, but for me, it's that August into back to school, you see?
yep,
So
I do.
and all of that, the sports stuff starting, all those things starting for school before school actually, that's when it gets me. That's when it gets.
Mhm,
And by the time it's starting to cool down and the leaves are changing and all, well, that's not so much.
And when you said that, back to school, it's not just the season, it's the stores that remind you. It's the commercials, it's the seeing a kid walking down the street with their backpack. There's so many other reminders that hit, you know.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think so. And what reminded me of that with this last person writing in was saying that it all starts on the 8th of March and then goes through Mother's Day. So a lot of times it's just certain dates on the calendar that get you, right?
Oh, definitely. And Mother's Day, I mean, not many people mentioned that, but that, you know, is a really hard day. I mean, and it's a holiday that, you know, it's, you know, not one of the top. If Mother's Day was a weekday, they probably wouldn't give us the day off work, right?
Right.
It's probably not that what they consider the major holidays, but for a bereaved mom, it is definitely so hard. And I love the fact that a lot of our world seems to be more sensitive, like with Mother's Day, that there are people who longing to be mothers, people have lost their mothers, people who have lost their children. Like we're just so much more open about that kind of stuff. I don't know if you saw it on, you know, whether it's on social media, just all sorts of openness for ways people feel on Mother's Day. And I loved having that. I mean, I followed, you know, many different people in this, Stephanie, what's her last name? I'll think of it. Grant, she's a psychiatrist, I think, or a psychologist, but she put up all these different things. Like, I'm sorry that your mother couldn't be there for you when you needed her. And one of them just said, I'm sorry, your mom sucks. And I know a friend whose mom sucked, and I sent it to her. And she said that just made her day, because every Mother's Day she wakes up feeling like, I did not get a good mother. I don't like celebrating this. You know, so there's so many different feelings on all of these things.
I'll read, Melissa. I love summer, so each year I get a little depressed. However, fall, we lost Chelsea. It starts in August, Chelsea's birthday, then Halloween, her favorite holiday, and then November, her anniversary day. And then we start with all the holidays. Each year since she passed, I can't wait for January to get here. Hard too, especially August through December, just feeling like all bad.
Yep. I like that. What Melissa says is like, and we talk about this when we talk about the holidays, is all of us just want to skip over it. I mean, for her, it's the whole fall season starting in August. Like, let's just get January here, because it's reminder after reminder. And there are a lot of people like that have, you know, the birthdays near the anniversary of the death, near other, you know, events and things that just bring painful reminders. So yeah, sometimes we just want to skip over certain seasons. You know, and it everything is dependent on, like I said, the lenses we're looking through. Because when I was thinking just now, like, some people aren't obviously looking through a pained lens, but where my mind went is like storms. Some people love storms. They absolutely love watching them. But then there's who maybe lineman who works on high voltage electricity, they're not looking, they hate storms, right? You know, there's just so many things. It's what it carries for you that makes it so hard. It is Abby who wrote, to a homeschooling mother, February is always considered the longest short month of year. The holidays are long behind and the spring break seems far away. It's still dark and cold, and our list of things that you are behind in seems daunting. I think it is fitting that my son died on February 2nd this year, since I've always found this month difficult. I haven't made it to my first after yet, though, but I'm guessing I won't be finding future Februarys any easier. Nope.
No, you won't.
Nope.
It's hard. And it is hard when I think it's that February can be so hard when it's just so dark. So nothing.
Right. So for her, she never liked it anyway. Now she's really not going to like it. For some people, loved a season, and now it's the season their child died in, and they no longer like it. Right. So
That's really hard to know. I mean, it's just one of those things I've said so many times, like, you don't know what's better. It's both just bad, right?
Right.
Everything.
Oh, definitely. Um, Caroline says fall was never my favorite. Now it just signals holidays without Michael and then his eternal death date and multiple hard days after and his birthday and other anniversaries that are linked to him, making winter very, very long. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
and the word long, I mean, again, for those of us who live in Michigan, it means something different, but it is long. Like some of these seasons last a while and the darkness. But like you mentioned, though, when spring comes and it's nice and shiny outside and we don't match that feeling, sometimes we prefer the darkness of winter.
Yeah. I know. I remember when Andy's funeral day, it started to rain for a little while, and I was so happy because I just wanted it to rain. And so I was thinking a little bit about when she said her son died on February 2nd, like you just want it to be terrible weather. And then you think February 2nd can always be pretty terrible weather, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just the kind of day it is.
Yeah.
Hard when you and everyone's having a great time when you're just like, no, today's supposed to be horrible.
Yes, I agree. Because I shared this before on here, but when we had the loss of our tuba pregnancy, and people know that it was on a Thursday, and then that Saturday was our neighborhood block party, and it was August, and so all the neighbors were out. And I remember sitting on the lawn chair and thinking, I do not want to be celebrating, but we had, a son who wanted to play all the games and be there, and all the neighbors expected us, right? And I'm thinking, I just wanted it to storm. I wanted the whole event to be ruined. And here was just a beautiful day. And no one knew how dark I felt on the inside. Like it just was, I wanted it to storm.
Yep. I think that's a beautiful point, right?
Yeah.
These days are hard. These seasons are hard. And sometimes I think you want the to.
Yeah. You want it to match. Yeah.
Mhm.
I did flip over to Instagram because I do know, that we started a little bit late because of some stuff going on, but I have to end at my time because I have a board meeting and I am the chairman of the board, so I do have to be there. That someone on Instagram wrote, spring, we went on mission trips to South Texas and Pike played with kids he couldn't speak the language with, and he was always the first to the door as we handed out groceries in the neighborhood. Summer, he loved the water and especially fishing, scout and church camp. Fall, his birthday was always during the state fair and we would play hooky and take a friend or two. Winter, he loved Christmas, helped me decorate, had a hugely extensive and random Amazon wish list, and always played in the snow when we had it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's a beautiful memory of each season. I love it.
I think that's good too. And I love that's what you talked about in one of the questions too, was about that, right? Can you read that one? Do you have that?
Which one?
Oh,
I'll read
yeah.
Carolyn's. Where you looking?
This is what she answered. So she answered this. This was posted yesterday. Take a few quiet minutes today and write down a specific memory of your child in each of the 4 seasons. So that's what she did.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's beautiful. I love that.
I would invite all of us to do that, to come up with a wonderful memory in each of those seasons if you can. It's a beautiful way to think about our children and remember them, and it was a nice exercise, I think, to think about.
I think so too. Yes, now I know where you were coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, and so many things had. I think we posted a little late, so people write anything on Facebook. We just had that one person write on Instagram. Probably didn't give people quite enough time on these,
right. But they can still do it. And when it airs on Thursday, people will still do it. Tell a friend, share it with someone, post it on their own page, Yeah.
Yes. I still think it's a beautiful exercise to think about doing. So I would do that. Other thoughts that you wanted to make sure to talk about?
I don't want to miss it. There's one comment from Carolyn who said, no season change in mood prior to losing Jimmy. I don't feel like I don't feel a seasonal loss after losing Jimmy. However, every year is different with his birthday, the day he passed away, special occasions and holidays. This year it was Mother's Day that was difficult for me. That was a first for me. So what she's saying is you can't predict which ones are going to be hard.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's a great point. When you have these anniversaries and you think, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do the same thing every single year. No, you're probably
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah.
okay. It is really okay that you're not. You
Right.
need to do what feels right in that moment at that time.
Yeah. Now it's interesting because when I said I had a few tips and I'll just read through them, but sticking to a routine is really important in all seasons of life. And we know how important sleep is, and you probably talk to your patients about it, but waking up, going to bed at the same time, even when daylight hour shifts, because your internal regulation, right, when you're in that habit. So that's good to always stick to your routine. And there are some people who even in summer kind of stick to their routine. I just went crazy in the summer. We didn't have a routine, and that's what made the transition back to fall so hard. But I mean, we were out at bonfires at 10 o'clock at night, and yeah. Prioritizing sunlight exposure, like natural light is critical. And I think for those of us who live in West Michigan, even in the winter, we do not have a lot, especially in the winter, we don't have a lot of sunlight, but just taking a short walk, and as mentioned before, if sunlight is limited, light therapy, those kinds of things are good. Staying active, physical activity in all of the seasons, that's key. Like people say, how am I going to make it through? That is key for all seasons. Doesn't matter, spring, winter, summer, fall. And of course, our eating well and practicing stress management, just techniques of deep breathing, journaling, and then staying connected, because isolation will always make our seasonal depression or struggles worse. So you have to make an effort to engage with friends or family, support groups, even if you don't feel like it at first. Small changes makes a big difference. And so just being connected to other people and just say, this is a tough time of year for me, and I need to be connected with my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being willing to tell people about it. We all experience this. We all have difficulties when we're going through changes in seasons. And just tell this is really hard. Fall is hard for me. August is hard for me. Or February is hard for me. Or just inviting people to be able to be there for you, because you know what? Our friends and family do want to be there for us and support us and for help, but this is the time. These are the times that you hopefully can ask for help.
Yep. We are never meant to do this alone. And so that's key, is just staying connected to your people in some way, and the support. And that's why I love, like, your group still connects, right? And if you're if any of your listeners are in a group that's ending, you can just find little ways to stay connected to people and not isolate ourselves in this season. But I do think the sunshine, and here's another suggestion that wasn't, when I started my job, wasn't a big thing, but this whole grounding, or just getting out and feeling the grass in your toes. I've been trying to do that just to see if it makes a difference. And I haven't studied it a lot, but I am enjoying it. I am. So that's my little thing. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks, Marcy.
Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful and would like to support the podcast, please leave a 5-star rating and comment. To help financially, you can type Andy's Mom, one word, to the number 53555. This provides a link to GiveButter, which allows donations through PayPal, Venmo, Apple Pay, or credit cards. GiveButter will provide a receipt of your tax-deductible donation. Or you can visit the donation page at andysmom.com/donate. Always Andy's Mom is a registered 501c3 and can receive donations through Thrivent Financial and Benevity. Marcy loves hearing from listeners. Please feel free to reach out to her via email at marcy@andysmom.com or on the Instagram or Facebook Always Andy's Mom accounts. Sign up for the email list to get weekly episode links as well as pictures of Marcy's guests and their children. Together, let's work to inspire hope, one day at a time.